not working. There we go. That was a little better. Nothing says positivity like bubbles, right? I actually carry these with me almost everywhere I go. Because why not? Every now and then, you just need a little bubble action in your life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the PulseChain Positivity Podcast. This is A Wild SJ, your host and tour guide for this evening. We are going to be delving into Lifespan by David Sinclair. Full title is Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. So I want to give you a little bit of background first about longevity in general. Pardon me. Let's see here. So I first learned about longevity through Richard Hart. I had never heard of the word longevity before, and pretty sure, even though I consider myself to be someone who's healthy, and I strive to do things that are good for my body and that will improve my own longevity, I just had never looked into this at all or heard about it. And the 10th chapter of Sci-Vive is actually called Longevity. In that chapter, Richard speaks on what longevity is, who his influencers from that area of discussion are, Aubrey de Grey being one of the, being chief among them. And he talks about the differences between longevity and all these other types of life extension ideals, right? So there's, and as I'm learning about longevity, I'm learning that longevity, in some respects, it seems as if longevity is a umbrella term for a lot of other types of life extension sciences. And then on the other hand, I feel like it can also be set apart. It can be kind of on its own in terms of it's the study of not aging, right? Or yeah, basically, the book says why we age and why we don't have to. So not aging, right? And it sees age almost as a disease, right? As something that is curable, is able to, you're able to stop your body from aging. So it's very intriguing to me. I really like the idea of, or the science behind what it is that people who study longevity are looking to do, right? So we learned that the mitochondria, right? That's your little powerhouse, the little mitochondria in your body. Those mitochondria, they break down over time. They don't work as well over time. So a big part of longevity studies is to improve the workings of mitochondria, right? And there's all these different, everything from a supplement you can take to stem cells to stressing your body in different ways, such as a sauna or an ice bath. There's just a whole gamut of things that you can do that will wake your body up and wake up your mitochondria and tell them, hey, let's keep working, right? Keep working hard, keep producing, keep doing things for my body. So and it's great because I just had a little conversation with him in the Sci-Vive Telegram chat, but Brent Nally, awesome dude, also super into the longevity scene. He and I had a great dialogue a little over a year ago, I want to say. Probably a little more than a year ago. If you look back through my live streams, there's one that I did with Brent, and I would say if you don't know anything about longevity, definitely check that one out. I think I'm going to go back and review that myself and then take a lot of his I believe he provided a lot of resources at that time. So I kind of want to go back through that. And now that I'm kind of immersing myself in the longevity community, I want to know the basics, right? I want to be able to kind of get down what it is that this really means and what are the implications that it can have for us as a species. So I also will totally take the time to interact with the chat. These positivity podcasts, I want them to be more of a conversation. So if you are here and you are watching, say what's up, say hello in the chat. If you are listening to me read and you have any questions, if you want to know, hey, can you expand on that a little bit more? Or can you read that again so that I can comprehend it? No problem. Just let me know in the chat. So speaking of which, let's say what's up to Hex Futures, who says first. You were first indeed, sir. Thanks for joining. Drix says, wavy hand, cool glasses face, insert version of appears. I like that. And then footsteps with the wavy hand and the Pearl Jam icon. Classic. I love it. I took a gander at, I haven't read this whole book yet. It was gifted to me by a wonderful, magical, fantastical Hexagon. And I've read the first like chapter maybe. I'm a little slow on reading physical books, right? I have actually listened to, and I want to plug David Sinclair as much as I can because I know that I'm reading copyrighted material, but I'm giving commentary as I'm reading it. So I think YouTube lets that slide if you're speaking about the book as you're reading the book. But also, like, I don't want to take anything away from him or, I'm obviously like, I'm not going to read the whole book. This is just, I'm probably going to read maybe a chapter. I don't even know if we're going to get to a whole chapter, but I want to kind of go through one of these chapters, see how far we can get and see how much we can learn from, what he's studied. Very interesting opinions of David Sinclair. When I went to the lifespan DSci meetup summit in New York. I did that in the couple days before our PulseChain tour meetup in New York. Got to meet, that's where I first met Aubrey de Grey in person. And then got to meet Laura of Athena DAO, really badass boss babe who's doing some really cool stuff. Also got to meet Aubrey's wife when they came to the PulseChain tour. And Aubrey's wife is also doing things in the vein of women's fertility longevity. So I was super stoked to hear about that. She and I are supposed to hop on a Zoom call sometime soon. Very interesting. So basically, that is part of why I'm so passionate about this is that I've started to get more involved. Oh, and that's what I was saying was that it was interesting to hear other people's opinions of David Sinclair's work and what he's done and what he's doing. Little controversial, but I believe that he is one of the loudest voices in the space. I think he says things very clear and concisely. And I do believe that he has some really great information and tips to give when it comes to longevity. So we're going to dive into it. Before I do that, though, like I said, I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm going to link David Sinclair's YouTube channel. And if you get a chance, definitely listen to his podcast. It's called Lifespan, and just like the book. And it is really well done. He and another, does it say the other guys? Yeah, Matthew LaPlante. So the two of them are there doing the podcast. And it's great. It's got a lot of really great information. It's a little dated. This book was published, let's see. Lifespan was published in 2019. Yeah, copyright 2019. So, few years old, but still very valid. And longevity is such a cutting edge, field of study that any of these things, even if they're a little outdated, it's still very relevant. So let me go back and review here. I'm going to skip. There's a really beautiful introduction to this book. And he speaks about how he used to live on his I think he grew up on like his grandparents' farm kind of thing, and how he used to just be outside all the time. And it like made me a little jealous because I thought, wow, what a beautiful life to have grown up just without any kind of digital, no phone, no. And I did grow up. I think I was the last part of the last generation that grew up without a cell phone or a tablet in my hands, right? I didn't have, and I'm dating myself a little bit, but I didn't have a cell phone, I think, until high school. I might have had a pager. That might have been a thing. But it was that technology came up as I was growing up. And from, you know, child, like, from when I was an infant. Hi, baby girl. You want to say something? You want to say hello? She says hello. So from being an infant until, you know, being a teenager, I really TV, right? So that was the thing that my parents would use as kind of a pacifier, right? Was the television. But I do remember having these outings where I would meet kids from the neighborhood. We'd go ride bikes around the neighborhood. There was a cul-de-sac down the street, and I got to know my neighbors and hang out and do that. I feel like that's so rare these days that people and kids just don't get out there and do things in nature as much. So it just gave me this sense of, wow, that's the kind of, listening to his growing up story just made me think, that's really the kind of growing up that I want to see my children have. Like, I would love to see my children have the ability to just go outside. Just go outside and just have a grand old time. Speaking of longevity, this is my 16-year-old cat. Isn't she cute? That's PulseChain Princess Sophia McIntyre. Real cute cat. All right, so we're gonna get to the reading now. Thank you again. Oh, and real quick before I forget, Footstep says, I'm re-watching RH and McAfee stream. It's pure gold. I got to tune in this morning to Ben Dubard, and it was a really good show. Good props to Ben. Love what you're doing, sir. And he was just watching old clips of Richard and a few different debates. And I think tomorrow, if y'all are up early, I don't know what time he's doing it. He ran a poll to figure out what time he was going to stream at, but if you are up anytime between, I think, 8 and 10 tomorrow morning, depending on your time zone, tune into Ben DeBard's stream. He's going to be doing a full watch. It's like he's going to watch one of Richard's old live streams for the hour and just kind of like react to it. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'll probably jump in there for a minute or two, or not a minute, I'll probably watch for a little bit and hang out in the chat. So keep that in mind. But yes, good stuff watching old Richard Hart streams. I kind of want to go back and see how often he spoke about longevity, because I did not get to watch Richard when he was doing those kinds of things, right? I got into the ecosystem a little bit later. Okay. For reals now, we're going to read. All right. So I'm getting to part 2, what we're learning, the present. And I think this is really pertinent. I think this is a good place to start, right? I'm going to kind of skip the intro, and we're going to go to a chapter called Longevity Now. This is page 87 of this book. And like I said, I'm going to do this with commentary. So we are going to stop along the way. And I will, let's see. I want to see how long this chapter is. Yeah, we'll just kind of start going and see how far we get. I don't want to promise that I'm going to read a whole chapter. It is not a very long chapter, so we might get through it all, but let us begin. Before we do that, I got a couple more people to say hello to. Hi, Glider, Purple Hearts. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Hex Guild says, going long. That is right. Going long on longevity. Thank you for tuning in, Hex Guild. Shout out to the Hex Guild. If y'all don't know, you better know. Hex Guild is one of the most amazing channels to join, to watch. They are all about doing amazing things. I mean, I think that if Hexaco is going to get built, that's where it's going to start, is within the Hex Guild. I believe it already has, to be honest with you. There is a a guy who started a intentional community in Zanzibar, um, I believe, with his gains from Hex. And there are so many people in that group who have the intention of doing something similar. I honestly think that Hexaco is going to be kind of decentralized. It makes sense, right? Because we're all over the world. I think that we will have various different spots around the world that will have their own kind of jurisdictions. Not this podcast, but later on, maybe another show, I'm going to be speaking about a little more about what I learned at that longevity. And one of the things that I learned about, which is super exciting, is that they are also building intentional communities. So there's already one, I believe it's in Monaco, and there's another one in the works that's going to be modeled after that one. And I believe they already have purchased the land, and I can't think of where it's at. But either way, super exciting. And yes, Morton Hake. Hake. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But Morton is the guy that's doing what he's doing in Zanzibar. Super cool. Really great stuff. Every now and then we'll show the video of what he's doing out there on the Hex Guild channel. But be sure to tune in. I believe it's every Wednesday around 2 Central. Let me know, Hex Guild. It's but yeah, almost every Wednesday around 2 Central, I believe, Hex Guild is going on live. And I hope to join this Wednesday. I cannot promise, but I am really gonna try because I miss you guys. Okay. So without further ado, drum roll. That was a really annoying loud noise. Never mind. Longevity now. This is chapter 4. All right. Longevity now. Lifespan. David Sinclair. Okay. Let me pull this a little closer so we can hear me well. Every day, I wake up to an inbox full of messages from people from all over the world. The tide ebbs and flows, but always takes the form. Goodness. Oh, before I continue, I see Hex Guild is replying here. It is 2:30 Central Time on Wednesdays. Check it out. Great stuff. And Hex Guild says, thanks, much love. Thank you. Much love to you and everything that you guys do. I'm a huge fan. One of the first communities I joined within the Hex community. That's actually, it was one of the most exciting things for me because I already was in that world of permaculture and growing food and things like that. So when I found out that there is a group, no, yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do about this. I think we're good. Okay. Anyways, when I found out that there was a group of people who are all Hexicans who are also into growing food and permaculture, it just made my heart melt. All right. Yes, and Footsteps says PulseChain book club bus. That is what's up. That's what we're doing. I want to do this a little more often. I saw another content creator who just does this. Like she reads books and comments on them, and I want to bring more value to the community. And I think that this is one way that I can do it because I already, people say I have a great voice for reading, and I think that this is a great discussion to have. So let us continue. The tide ebbs and flows, but always takes the form of a flash flood in the wake of newly announced research from my team or others. And I believe this is actually David Sinclair speaking. Like this is his voice is the one that's the narrator. What should I be taking? They ask. Can you tell me what I need to get admitted? Wait, can you tell me what I need to do to get admitted into one of the human trials? They implore. Can you extend the lifespan of my daughter's hamster? I kid you not. Some of the letters are much sadder than others. One man recently wrote to offer to contribute a donation to my lab in honor of his mother, who had passed away after suffering terribly through many years of age-related illness. I feel compelled, is in the quotes, I feel compelled to help, even in some small way, to prevent this from happening to someone else, he wrote. The next day, a woman whose father had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's wrote to ask if there were any way to get him admitted into a study. I would do anything Take him anywhere. Spend every last cent I have, she pleaded. He is the only family I have, and I cannot bear the thought of what is about to happen to him. And that hits home to me a little bit. My grandfather, before he passed away, he was suffering from Alzheimer's. And on one hand, on a good note, my grandfather had such, I believe I take after him so much. Very fortunate in that, because even though he had Alzheimer's, I will never forget this. We would be at an event or something would be going on, and the family would all be together, and he might not really be there, but he always had a smile on his face. And every now and then he would say something like, "Well, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I sure am happy to be here." How tragically beautiful, right? Like, again, on one hand, tragic because poor man doesn't know what's going on, but beautiful because what a joy, right? What a spirit to have, regardless of where you're at physically and mentally, right? So knowing that Alzheimer's, could be something that, I mean, my mother's aging, right? Both my parents are getting up there in age. I had to take care of my dad for a little while through COVID. That was terrifying. And as we age, right? Our parents are aging, those of us who still have our parents, right? And sometimes we watch our parents take care of their parents, right? So this really is something, I mean, obviously, we all age. It affects everyone. So real quick, I see a comment here. Oh, let me go back here. Footsteps says food and pills influence a lot of diseases in the brain. 100%. I honestly, I think food, you are what you eat, right? And we're learning more and more about how your gut biome is your other brain, right? Your gut, what you're putting into your stomach is affecting so many other parts of your system and your body and your mind. It is part of your mind, right? So, and the pills, of course, like I have this conversation over and over with people where it's like, okay, well, they want to put you on this pill, right? But what are the side effects of that pill? And then what's the next pill you're going to have to take to deal with those side effects, right? Because that's what it is. It's a pharma machine, right? That's all they want to do is make money. They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. They want you to stay sick so they can prescribe more pills. So 100% agree with that, Footsteps. Thank you. Chase Williams says, love your content. Probably already answered this 1,000 times. What's your ATH projection for Pulse? Thank you. We're so lucky to be here. Oh, Chase. Well, I don't often talk about price at all. I don't talk about our coins much in general. I think that's why I'm a little known. I'm a niche content creator here in the Hex world. But man, like all-time high for Pulse, like ever. Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say very quickly. Hex is to Bitcoin as Pulse is to Ethereum. What's the price of Ethereum right now? What's the price of 1 ETH? Huh? I think Pulse can go higher. So I'll put it to you that way. That I really strongly believe that. I do. Because of the code, right? Because code works and it can't get turned off and it's gonna just keep doing what it's doing. The more adoption that we have, the more people that really see the beauty of this ecosystem and these products that we have, the more bullish I get on the fact that I really think that Richard Hart's ecosystem can take over crypto and become really what true DeFi, because it is. It's made to be what Bitcoin wanted to be beginning, right? Richard is bringing Satoshi's vision into fruition. I completely believe that. So that's all there. Russ says someday maybe people won't retire, but just go on hiatus. Interesting. That's an interesting thought. It breaks my heart that my father is in his 70s. I think he's going to be 70. I think he turned 73 this year, 72 or 73. And he's still not retired. He was a workaholic. I'm not going to get into it because it's a whole bunch of drama, and that reminded me that I need to text my sister back. But anyways, it's frustrating because I mean, he's worked his entire life. He was an LAPD officer. He retired on a Friday, had the weekend off, and went to work for the city of LA as a hearing officer on a Monday and has been working there ever since. The man needs to retire. And for reasons I'm not going to get into, he hasn't yet, but it's just like it floors me, right? Like I want my dad to enjoy the rest of his life and the little, like I'm going to get him on some of this longevity stuff, right? But like it's breaking my heart that he's near the end of his life and has not been able to enjoy the things that he's wanted to enjoy, the places he's wanted to live in Arizona for forever, and that still hasn't happened. All right, rant over. But yes. Hex Token, good to see you, friend. Thank you, Hex Token. Thank you so much for all of your support all the time. I don't get to tune in very often, but almost every time I do, you've said something about me, and it just makes my heart smile. So thank you for always being such a positive force and a positive influence in our ecosystem. Thank you for doing everything that you're doing through the bear market, still out there streaming, still out there putting out content, as many of us are. It's great to be on this team with you, and thank you so much for your support and your positivity. I appreciate it. Chase says, agreed. I meant this cycle. I'll always be here. Man, this cycle, I don't know. Again, I'm probably the last person that you want to ask because this is my first cycle. This is my first cycle in crypto. My first bear market. I haven't seen a bull market yet, right? Like I got in as we were going through the end of the bull market. So like, I think I got my first buy was like 5 cents and then 12 cents and then 22 cents. I think the highest I bought was about 20 something cents. And then, was happy with my bags and then watched it go down and then started to understand what we were doing and that we were going into a bear market. And here we are at a year. Oh, it's been so many days in the bear market. Oh, yes, we will make it though. We will make it. The bull market's on its way back, right? So to be honest with you, Chase, I have no clue. I really couldn't tell you. I mean, like, I don't know. It's got like a few zeros right now, right? Let's get Pulse to a penny. Is that super bullish? I don't know. I want Pulse to a penny this cycle. Or $1. What did Ethereum do? That's a good way to, since I said that earlier. What did Ethereum do for their first cycle? Yeah. Jay says, clap, clap, clap. Footstep says, people don't realize that without the correct crypto, they will never be able to retire. Or the correct strategy. I mean, yes, I 100% believe that crypto is probably the best and quickest way for people to retire. But not everyone gets it, right? So I think that there are other ways that people would have the ability to do that. You just got to be smart about it, and not give in to the narrative of just working this 9 to 5 or living in the rat race, right? We can't continue to make that the status quo. That is 100% actually why I'm going to go on a tiny little rant here, but that's a big reason why I'm a part of this ecosystem, because I can't envision a future where we keep doing this. I cannot envision a future where people are just wasting their lives away working 9 to 5 for someone else to get rich off of their time, right? Especially after like us knowing what we know within this ecosystem and seeing the way that Richard wants to see other people be successful and be wealthy and not have to live within that narrative anymore, right? Yes. Okay. All right. And then let me see. Hex Token says, thanks so much. And go team. Yes, go team. Footstep says, accumulation phase equals bear market 100%. I learned that this bear market. I have been accumulating here, there. I bought Pulse just the other day. Bought the dip. I bought the dip. I sure did. Pretty stoked about that. I actually doubled my Pulse bag. Yay. Chase Williams says, thank you. I think we'll see 2 to 3 cents with an all-time high of up to 7.5 cents this cycle. I like that. Chase says, appreciate your time and appreciate your thoughts and smile. I do that a lot. So you're very welcome. Glider says, staking is the key. And then Glider says, staking, staking, staking. Yes. Staking goes great with my dinner this evening, which was steak. It was good. All right. Where were we? Right. So the last sentence I ended on was the girl writing to David Sinclair, telling him about how she's hoping that her father can get into some kind of human trial to get some kind of lifespan extension, right? Because she can't bear to think of, losing her father. So he continues, there is great reason for hope on the not so distant horizon, but those battling against the ravages of aging right now must do so in a world in which most doctors have never even thought about why we age, let alone how to treat aging. Some of the medical therapies and life-extending technologies discussed in this book are already here. Others are a few years away. And there are more to discuss that are a decade or so down the road. We'll get to those as well. But even without access to this developing technology, no matter who you are, where you live, how old you are, and how much you earn, you can engage your longevity genes starting right now. Just super exciting and very much a part of why I want to read this to y'all, because I think that we can we can end aging. Sorry. Okay. My wobbly table. Wobble, wobble, wobble. It's fine, right? Bus life, okay? I gotta deal with it. All right. Real quick, I'll go since I see the chat. I see a few here. Glider says, buy the next dip too, 100%. Absolutely. Chase Jonathan says, nice. What's up, Chase Jonathan? And Chase Jonathan says, hope everyone has a great weekend. I hope so too. Let's begin it with some longevity talk, huh? Shall we? And then I got one more. Ryan Lopez says, nice to catch you live. Nice to have you here, Ryan Lopez. Appreciate you, good sir. And your positivity as well. I remember catching a little bit of your content in the past, and it's all, you always got a smile on your face and a great attitude. Oh. My camera today. I'm sorry, everyone. I think next time I'm going to put my camera on a tripod because this is quite silly. Anyways, back to the show. All right. That's what people have been doing for centuries without even knowing it. Okay. SJ learns to read live. In centenarian heavy places such as Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Sardinia, Italy, these are, you might recognize, some of the places the writer Dan Buettner introduced to the world as so-called blue zones starting in the mid-2000s. And this was something, without knowing that it was kind of longevity based, that's probably the first I heard of that kind of thing, right? These are the zones where people are living longer. Some of you may have heard of the Okinawa diet, the Mediterranean diet. Those are studies, studies were done around places where people were living longer. And a lot of what those studies found was that the diet that the people ate was very much a part of why these people were living longer. Okay. Since that time, the primary focus for those seeking to apply lessons from these and other longevity hotspots has been on what blue zone residents eat. Ultimately, this resulted in the distillation of longevity diets that are based on the commonalities in the foods eaten in places where there are lots of centenarians. And overwhelmingly, that advice comes down to eating more vegetables, legumes, and whole grains while consuming less meat, dairy products, and sugar. And I will put a disclaimer here that That might be kind of his opinion. I believe that I've heard other longevity experts kind of dispute that. And I'm not saying that you need to eat a shit ton of meat. So, as to give you a little bit of background, I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, I've been ovo-lacto pescatarian. I kind of over the course of the years have gone back and forth with all those different kinds of diets. And at this point, I'm kind of just sticking to mostly vegetarian, but I do like to eat I'll eat good meat. I want meat that's high quality, and I tend to stick to things like elk, venison, bison, beef. If I'm gonna eat fish, I'll do herring, salmon, mackerel, just high quality foods. That's to me, I used to say I was a conscious-itarian, right? And it's harder to do these days, especially with being on the road. But if I was permanently somewhere, I would find my closest farm or local farmer's market and buy my food from them, because I want to know that the food I'm putting in my body and the animal meat that I'm ingesting, and this might be silly to some people, but for me to know that that cow had a happy life means a lot. I don't want to eat sad meat. I don't want to eat a chicken that lived its life in the dark being force-fed food. I just don't. I don't like the way that feels. I don't like the imagery or the thought behind that at all. And whether or not that has any effect on anything, who knows? But it feels better to me when I can do that. So anyways, all that to say, I'm just saying that he's not the end all be all of all the longevity things, but that's what he's saying about food here. Okay, he says, and that's not a bad place to start. In fact, it's a great place to start. There is widespread disagreement, even among the best nutritionists in the world, as to what constitutes the best diet for Homo sapiens. That's likely because there is no best diet. We're all different enough that our diets need to be subtly and sometimes substantially different too. So that's good. I like that he goes on to say that. But we're also all similar enough that there are some very broad commonalities. More veggies, less meat. And I think that that also, in playing devil's advocate or whatever, I think that that is also a good thing to say, because I forget that the majority of Americans like eat meat for every meal, right? Like you don't need to do that. you know, like like I don't sausage and eggs and then a burger for lunch and then a steak for dinner. That's a lot of meat. You are like putting your body through a lot when you're doing that. So maybe just cut it out of one meal. Start with that. I will usually, I think, have meat in one. I try when I It's just me, I try to usually have meat in one meal throughout my day. And sometimes I'll go through like a couple days without eating meat at all. Um, but that's just me. That's just my personal what I'm trying to do. Let's see. So, okay, and then so he goes on to say, so more veggies and less meat. And then this is huge. This one right here is huge. Fresh food versus processed food. If it comes out of a bag or a box, I don't want it. I don't eat chips. I try not to eat snacks. My snack is, and this is, me at like 11 years old, because I was a chonker. Like I went through in life, like I went through periods of being thin and fit and just a chonker. And then thin and fit, and then like it kind of went like this. But between the ages of probably 9 and 12, I got chunky. And like, for example, I remember I would come home from school and I would eat Marie Callender's fettuccine alfredo dinners. I would eat lots of pizza, lots of pizza. I remember one morning, no, this is like at the morning after getting pizza one night, putting M&Ms on my pizza. Fatty. I'm about it. Not anymore. But right, like I grew up on packaged and processed foods. I think a lot of us did. It was just the easy thing for our families to do, right? So that just became the norm. And it is such a normal thing for people to eat packaged and processed junk, and there's so little quality in it. But what I was getting to is that, like, that me would look at this me and be like, "That's gross. Why would you eat that?" So my favorite snack right now, like this year, has been broccoli and hummus. I'll just buy the big ass bag of broccoli from Costco and the big ass tub of hummus from Costco, and I just eat that as a snack. It's delicious. Pro tip. Here's commercial time. SJ's Kitchen. Do 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 do. I Over the last couple days, I have life hacked the banana. So I get bananas for either smoothies, usually just for my smoothies. And sometimes, depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing, maybe a couple of the bananas might go bad, right? They'll get black or dark or whatever. Um, I just did this super cool thing where I took the banana that was going bad and I put it in a bowl and I added cacao powder, coconut milk powder, and a little bit of honey. And I mashed that whole thing up and then I put it on a piece of sourdough toast and it was the best dessert ever. Better than Nutella, better than ice cream. It was so good. It was just like purely delicious, no added bullshit. I know exactly what's in it. That's important to me. I want to know what I'm putting in my body. Also, by the way, friends, let's see. Hold on. Let me do numbers on my fingers cuz I'm good at that. Um 10, 11, 12. 12 days vape free. I'm doing it. I'm super doing it. It was kind of difficult over the weekend when we had the meetup because some of the people around me were using the vapes, but I did it. I didn't even crave it. I wasn't jonesing for it. I felt good. So I think I've kind of got over that hump and I'm going to be all right. We'll see, right? I want to keep on keeping on and I want you guys to keep me accountable. And before it gets away from me, let's get back up in this chat here. Woo! Y'all are talking. All right. Wow. Oh, good. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to get through this whole chapter. But because that's what I was saying is I want this to be a conversation. So Footsteps says positive chat. Glider says yes. And awesome. Chase Jonathan says good, 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 good vibrations. Got that good vibration. I hope that's what you were referring to. Russ says never retire. This is the way. It's a positive mindset. Interesting. Chase Jonathan says the way it is. And then Yoda. That's how I knew how to say it that way. Hardware, what's up? How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Hardware says legume means vegetable in French. Never understood why it's mentioned twice. That's interesting. That is funny. Glider says blue zones are related to the geographical location as well as the food. Moon Mutt, hi there. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining the chat. Moon Mutt says, always enjoy your positivity. Love your bus. Thanks for all you do. You are quite welcome, sir. Hardware says, above all is how you eat. Chew your liquids, drink your foods. Interesting. Interesting. I would like you to expand upon that. Every time I see him, makes me think of my pops. What's up, Mr. Chuck? Mr. Chuck says, one T-share mints 6.5 hex/EHEX per day. As T-shares become more expensive, the minting could pay up to 15 hex per T-share each day. Make stakes now and live long enough to enjoy them. Be healthy, friends. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a big reason why I came to this conclusion. It's why I want to put this content out. Because we're here for 5555. And I want to see all of y'all make it, right? We should be sci-viving together. So that is a big reason why I'm doing this. Footsteps says wise words. Thank you, sir. Glider says live in Asia, then the animals are happy here. Many other places, aren't they? Right? I believe this is mostly a United States problem. Chase Jonathan says the way this is. And then Chase says need more mackerel, it seems. You can get it canned. That's how I use it. Hardware says meat was a superfood in the past. We rarely got it when we caught it following the herds. Right. Very true. Right. It was a treat. And then on top of that, this is kind of a little off topic, but I love that when we were hunter gatherers, that when we hunted and we captured the animal, we used all of it. Nothing went to waste, nothing was discarded. I love that. Russ says eggs are so great. Yes, they are. Hardware says try fufu. It's green, big African bananas turned to white mash, kind of like potato mash. Huge powerhouse. Nice. I wonder if can I use plantains? I'm just saying green, big African bananas. Makes me think of a plantain. Chase Jonathan says, story time. All protein comes from veggies. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure even all the protein you get from meat comes from that said animal's protein intake. I think I have heard something like that before. I also am not 100% sure if you are correct, but that wouldn't surprise me. I gotta get my haircut. These bangs. I think I win the award for has touched hair more often than anyone else on stream ever. It's fine. All right. Glider says there is no diet that can survive a bag of granddaddy purple. I don't know what that means. Hexglen says hi. Hi, Hexglen. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hardware says at Chase Jonathan, just compare a steak with the same amount of veggies. All see the mountain it'll take. Yeah. Hex Guild says, I'm guilty of eating Pepperidge Farm's cheddar goldfish as a staple snack. That is quite shocking to me that is your staple snack. What are you doing? Get that cheese out your mouth. Oh, Hardware says, what's a steak? 30 grams of protein? Chase Jonathan says, also, what's in protein water drink? Ha. Makes ya. Oh, sorry. Gross. Gabriel says, awesome. Great job. Thank you. Hardware says, protein taken from cow's milk. Protein water drink. I don't know. Footstep says, good work, SJ. I want to quit vaping. You can do it. You can totally do it. I believe in you. Please try, because that shit is toxic. It is super bad for you. I try not to get too preachy, but maybe that's just what I have to do, because I think that's part of why I can't fathom putting it in my body anymore, because I read about propylene something. Propylene, I forget what the thing is. I'm sure someone in the chat will say. But basically, like, that shit's so toxic. It's an antifreeze. Like, why are we putting that in our bodies? It's not a good idea. So I admonish your wanting to quit, and I am telling you right now, it's the first of the month. Let today be the last day you vaped. Start tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 1 of no vaping. I believe you can do it. Hardware says, drink your liquids. Your foods relates to mixing with saliva, which contains important enzymes for digestion. Hence the chewing 50 times to 100 times on your foods. That's smart. I mean, eating slower anyways is good for us, right? Rich Wealth says, how tall is the arch? And Rich Wealth says, I milk cows for a living. Where do you milk cows? And can you send me some of your delicious cow milk? Because I'm down. Hardware says, try it with whole rice. The flavors just keep coming. It's amazing. Footsteps says, hello to Rich Wealth. Russ says, if you accidentally eat some junk food, just eat the whole bag. Don't do it often. Hey, that's true. Everything in moderation, right? Like, and I'm not here to judge or to, call anyone out, even though I might. But you all know it's out of love. You all know that it's so much out of love, and just out of me, again, wanting to see us all hang out for the next 15 years together. But yeah, every now and then, like, I crave chocolate, okay? Me making that banana snack is like a way for me to satiate my sweet tooth, because I have a sweet tooth. And I'm trying to break that. I'm hoping that every time I fast, I'm hoping that it's going to kind of break that thing that I have. If any of you have tips on how to break the sweet tooth addiction, that's my biggest addiction, is chocolate. I just want A cookie with chocolate. Oh, Rich Wealth says Hawaii. Oh, hold on. Wow. No. Here we go. Okay. Chase Jonathan says, put junk food on veggies. This is the way. Hex Siren. Mwah! Hello, love. Hex Siren says, hey there, beautiful people. Chase Jonathan says, Granddaddy Perp, pro tip. And Hex Glenn says, footsteps, try decreasing the amount or concentration each day or stop. Yeah. Now, let me preface that with I did not do it for long. I did not smoke cigarettes before that. So it's probably easier for me to quit. It was not an everyday thing, except that it started to be, and that's why I quit. I saw the addictiveness happening, and I did not want that. So that's why I stopped. Rich Wealth says Hawaii, and then says, yo, footsteps. And then footsteps says PG equals, yes, propylene glycol. That's the bullshit in your vape that you don't want. I mean, nicotine's not that great either, right? But the propylene glycol is really what it is. Hexcon just said, just realized the clock in the background is non-ticking. It's working though. See? And now you can't see my face. Okay. And then also shout out to Z for that clock. He made it. If you come to any of the PulseChain Tour meetups, we now have these handy dandy coasters. I don't have one handy, but he made these really awesome granite coasters that have the Hex PulseChain and PulseX logos on them. So that's another thing that I think we're going to start doing for our giveaways at the PulseChain Tour meetups. PulseChainTour.com. You can see it on the banner. Come say hello. Rich Wealth says that Cleveland arch, remember? I mean, no. I don't. Hex Siren, you're not helping. Hex Siren says, I'll send you some chocolate. Girl. Let me get you an address right away. Post haste. Hex Siren says, balancing hormones will help with sweet tooth. You know, I believe that's absolutely true. I just don't know how to do that. How do we do it? How do we do it? Oh, she's got an answer for me in a second here. Footstep says, Hex Glenn, yeah, I'm reducing the amount of nicotine. I smoked for a long time. So see, there you go. There you go. Hex Siren says, evening primrose oil for 2 weeks, starting on day 1 of your period. Now, am I to ingest the evening primrose oil? Is that what I'm doing? We could take this offline. You can send me a telegram. Chase Jonathan says, chocolate does come from a fruit plant, right? I think it's the sugar additives that you're addicted to. Sugar's a hell of a drug. So, yeah. Here's the thing is that I get your point. Mostly, though, the chocolate that I have is super dark. So, for example, this evening, like I was saying, I made that banana dessert, and there was no sugar in it except for maybe a little bit of honey, but I used the cacao powder and then the natural sugars of the banana. Maybe it is well, that's what I was saying, is it's more of like a sweet tooth thing, but for me, my sweet tooth can be very easily satiated with very dark chocolate. I mean, I can eat 95-100% cacao or like super super dark chocolate with very little to no sugar in it and have that sweet tooth satiated. So it might be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But yes, and in Puerto Rico, you can find them here maybe somewhere, but I just remember being on the island and seeing the cacao fruit itself and like wanting to like grow them. They're huge. So a cacao pod, they're like yay big or bigger. They're gigantic. Amazing, amazing fruit though. Hex Glenn says it sweeps instead of ticks. Yes, it does. It's a sweeping clock. Hardware says for sweet tooth, try focusing on salty for a few months. It balances things out. Salty can be really tasty too. Spicy, bitter, and sour. They're all worlds of taste you can explore. Great point. And I'm actually kind of doing that. I have a jar of pickles that I bought the other day. And because I am out of chocolate and I am trying not to buy it, obviously making banana pudding from a banana and cacao powder is kind of, I'm treating myself or like tricking, like cheating the system maybe a little bit. But I have been leaning towards, or I've been eating the pickles, whereas normally I would be craving something sweeter, right? Like maybe like a Kind bar, right? One of those chocolate nut bars or nuts with fruit. So that's a great tip because I'm already kind of halfway there. So I will definitely consider doing that more. Hex Glenn says, cool footsteps. Footsteps says, when you crave chocolate, eat a piece of fruit. I've also been doing that. I have a pineapple and a peach in here. And so earlier I was eating a pineapple. I think it's just one of those things that I have to do for the 21 days, right? If you do it for 3 weeks, it starts to become a habit, it starts to stick. So I think that I've never actually done that before. I've never the time. Oh, we were doing so good. I'm actually using my Starlink and it's been doing great. So hopefully we continue to be great. But yes, also a great tip from Footsteps about eating fruit instead of chocolate. I don't know if I'm ready yet to do that, but man, am I going to try. I'll try real hard. Maybe, I mean, it's the first of a month. I had a little cacao today. What do you guys think? Should I try and get off chocolate for a few weeks? Put a put a chocolate bar in the chat if you think I should try to go without chocolate for the next 3 weeks. I'll do it. Don't make me. Hex Siren says they come in capsule form. You can get it at most stores. Okay, so I will look for that. Primrose oil in capsule form. I've definitely heard of it before. Chase Jonathan is asking, can men take primrose oil? And then Hex Siren says, I'll send you some with some chocolate. That's backwards, ma'am. I don't think that helps one bit. Gabriel says, detox body. Fasting is doing that. Artem Wussy? I don't know what that means. Hardware says, it taught me a lot about the health benefits within tastes. Salty like cheeses, sauerkraut for gut biome, mustard salad dressing. I'm on that page, man. I'll use mustard. Honestly, sometimes with salads, like I'll just mash up an avocado and that's my dressing. I'll put mustard on it and that's my dressing. Simple. Footsteps says, your chocolate is good, SJ. I thought you were addicted to Mars bars. No, yeah, I don't eat any of that shit. I eat super high quality, super dark chocolate. That's my thing. Artemisia is a plant that cleanses the body, but an easy option to cleanse the body is liquid iodine. Interesting. Chase Jonathan says, they show how everything's made around the world and sparks thought to better ways of living. Absolutely. And lastly, before we get back into reading here, Russ says, it's weird. We always look at putting things into our bodies to live longer. Should consider fasting as well, 100%. And I think that they do go into that in this book. I think that it's a little bit of both. Because I mean, you can't fast forever, right? So you have to balance it, right? You can do fasting, but you also have to be aware of when you are not fasting and you are putting things into your body. Be aware of the ingredients in those things. What is it you are putting in your body? How is what you're putting in your body going to affect you when your cells are regenerating 2 weeks from now, right? Because we become what we eat. The food that nourishes our body becomes and makes up the cells within our body as they regenerate and as we become, this new version of ourselves over and over again. All right. This is fun. This is good. I hope you all are enjoying this stream. Let's see where we're at. We're almost at an hour. And I have only read not even a page. But I'm going to try and finish at least this. So there's like sections within the chapter. So we'll see. I think I'm going to try and finish this section within the chapter, and then we'll just pick it up again another day. All right. So I think the last thing I might have said, yes, was, but we're also all similar enough that there are some very broad commonalities. More veggies and less meat, fresh food versus processed food. And then I went on a rant. We all know this stuff. though applying it can be a challenge, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. A big part of the reason so many people aren't willing to face up to that challenge is because we've always thought of aging as an inevitable part of life. It might come a little earlier for some and a little later for others, but we've always been told that it's coming for all of us. That's what that's what we used to say. That's what ooh, this is good. This is a good line. That's what we used to say about pneumonia, influenza, tuberculosis, and gastrointestinal conditions too. In 1900, those four illnesses accounted for about half of the deaths in the United States. And if you managed to live long enough, you could be virtually assured that one of them would get you eventually. Today, deaths among people suffering from tuberculosis and gastrointestinal conditions are exceedingly rare. And pneumonia and influenza claim less than 10% of the lives taken by those conditions a little more than a century ago. With most of those deaths now among individuals weakened by aging. What changed? In no small part in what changed? In no small part, technology and better information to guide our lifestyle decisions resulted in a world in which we didn't have to accept the idea that these diseases were just the way it goes. We don't have to accept aging like that either. But even among those who will have the most immediate access to pharmaceuticals and technologies that we will be emerging to offer longer. Hold on. You know, sometimes when you read a sentence and you're like emphasizing all the wrong words, I just want to make sure that I'm reading this right. Okay. But even among those who will have the most immediate access to pharmaceuticals and technologies that will be emerging to offer longer and healthier lives in the next few decades, reaching an optimal lifespan and health span won't be as easy as flipping a switch. There will always be good and bad choices. And that starts with what we put into our bodies and what we don't. One moment, please. I burped. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm going to just keep reading a little bit because we were just talking about this and I think it's so on point and we'll just continue and then this will kind of probably be a good segue into my next stream. Hopefully tomorrow. But real quick before I do that, I do want to go ahead and address the chat again here. So I'm gonna start with this comment again, which is, I think I ended on. Well, we didn't end on this, but I want to point this out because this is kind of what this next chapter is going to go into. But again, Russ said it's weird. We always look at putting things into our bodies to live longer. Should consider fasting as well. So keep that in mind when I continue reading again. Hex Siren says I'll send you for dark chocolate with low sugar. Yeah, girl, love you. Hex Glenn says just grab your hair and hold on to it. Oh, my poor hair. Hardware says eating functionally, not emotionally, but tasty. Be safe. Catch you later. Hey, might not be watching anymore hardware, but thank you for that comment. So I want to just say real quick that a big reason that I started doing intermittent fasting in the first place was because I grew up in a home where I learned to eat emotionally, and they still do. I love my family, but I have such a hard time being around them because I see them doing this. And my poor mom, like she's killing herself by just eating food and not moving, eating shitty food and sitting in front of the TV, watching all the FUD on TV and not moving her body at all. So growing up in that kind of atmosphere, I learned that if I was sad, I should eat. If I was tired, I should eat. If I was bored, I should eat. And I see my niece doing it because she's in the same household. And I'm just like, this is not the way. So I noticed as I got older and I left the house and I was out on my own that especially in the evening, if I was bored or anxious or upset or something, I would start to just snack. I would just want to put food in my face. I would just want to eat something so that I could, it distracted me from the emotions. It distracted me from whatever. I just listened to an amazing podcast today also, y'all. And we'll talk about this kind of stuff down the road too, but John Dyer. Um let me see if I can show you or bring up what that was. Oh, Wales is live, y'all. No wonder. I should go watch him. In fact, I'm probably gonna end it real quick. But let's see. Let me go to my library. History, see all. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I just want to share this because it's kind of on the same. Wrong name. It was Dr. Joe Dispenza on how to brainwash yourself for success and destroy negative thoughts. This was great. And it really, if you have that kind of issue, right, where you are struggling with, you're eating emotionally, maybe you're vaping emotionally, whatever it is that you're doing, right, you're trying to distract yourself from something with something else. That YouTube video I just linked, please check that out. Really helpful, really just lots of great tools on how to kind of reset your mind and break through those negative thought patterns. Good stuff. You know what? I think I kind of miss watching Whales live, and my connection's not so great. And it's, I think shorter is better with these kinds of things. I don't want to overstep my I don't know. I think that it's better to have a little bit shorter discussions and just kind of save the rest for later. So, all right, I'm going to get through the chat and then we're going to end it. But just keep in mind I'm going to go ahead and just continue with this chapter. I think tomorrow we'll just continue and at least get through this chapter over the next few podcasts. But the next section of this chapter is called Go Fast. Go, fast. So keep that in mind. Catch me tomorrow. And let's say goodbye to the chat. Let's see. Russ says, the fact there's voluminous, right? Voluminous chat about the book saves you from copyright claim BS. Yes, Russ, I learned that, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, right? Speech slur can point to low brain power, so sugar from a piece of fruit helps. Huh. Interesting, at hardware. Yes, interesting indeed. Footstep says, we will catch up with whales only. That's very sweet. I appreciate it, but I also like whales, so I want to listen. Check out that video. That's the one from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Great stuff. Footstep says, thanks for the stream and links. You are super welcome. I hope that they are helpful. Hex Glenn says, go as long as you want. Another streamer went longer than expected today. Very true. Very true. But I think we're good. It's been a little over an hour, and got other things to do. Also, I got some things to clip from my other shows that I want to get that done. Hardware says, as a kid, I was told just 3 pieces of fruit is all the sugars you really need for the day. A small tip. So you get good fats intake. Fat mixed with fruit delays the sugar release. Very cool. I recently started to get over the whole fat is bad thing. I mean, I think it's been a little bit, but having whole milk instead of or have never used margarine. I was never a margarine person, but I used to avoid butter and stuff like that, but now I don't. So hardware, if you are on any other social or if you don't mind commenting on this video afterwards, I would love to know if you have any good examples of that. What's a good fat to go with fruit? I'm super intrigued. Like, do I just put butter on a banana? Like, that doesn't sound very good. So what are some ways that you can do that? I'm super intrigued. Please share. Footstep says, great chat, amazing positive energy. Cheers, everyone. Cheers indeed. I got like 30 seconds left here, y'all. Russ says, thanks for streaming, SJ. Thanks for watching, Russ. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of your input, everyone. Hardware says, dude, good unsaturated fats are a must. 100%. I totally agree with that. Footstep says, just remember, everyone, the brain is 60% fat. Omega-3 good. Omega good. Yeah, I take my omegas. I take my vitamins every day. But I also want to try and work on getting those nutrients from just eating, right? Like eating regular fruits and veggies, right? A lot of us have to take vitamins because we don't eat well enough, I think. That's a whole topic for a whole other day, ladies and gents. But Hardware says, we're going to end it on this. Hardware says 5 bananas, 1 spoon of peanut butter, milk, 600 calories, easy peasy. Gets you a long, long way. Did not think about that. I am a little, I don't like peanut butter. Is that okay? Can I not like peanut butter? I just don't think peanuts are the best for us in general. But maybe I like sunflower butter, and what's the other one I like a lot is pumpkin seed nut butter, which is very hard to find. I've only been able to find it at Sprouts or Whole Foods. Sprouts used to make their own, but I can't find it anywhere now, so it makes me sad. Sprouts, bring back your pumpkin seed butter, please, for me. The only downside to those things for me, Hardware, is that and this is just a me thing, and this is like maybe I just need to like get some kind of control over it. But if I have a jar of any kind of nut butter and I don't have chocolate, I'll eat the whole damn thing. Like I'm like not in one sitting, but like I will just spoonful it into my mouth. And I know that's not the best thing to do. So I have to just like be aware, like be wary of that, or like be more maybe I need to add it to something. Maybe that's it. Maybe instead of just like, it's just so tempting. It's so tempting to me. I just want to spoon that butter in my face and eat it. So good. All right. Anyways. All right. 3 more comments and we're out of here. Hexagon says, I like the positivity and peanut allergies are a thing. True. I don't have them. I've just, from friends that I know, from people that I know that are super into health and stuff, they're very health conscious. They avoid peanut butter. And then Hardware says, but it tastes so good. It does. Yes, it does. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you spending all this time with me. I'm going to cough. All right, friends, stay hydrated. Stay smiling, stay positive. Remember, you are not alone, and we are all in this together. We are all going to make it. And last comment, because I saw it real quick, coconut fats, avocado. All right, coconuts, avocados, mangoes. We are out. Have a good evening. Have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully.